much for joining us for this October episode of our Powerhouse Podcast. This month, we're really excited to be talking with some of our runners from our Team Activate. They have been training for months now for the Chicago Marathon coming up on October 12th. Not just training and putting in more than a marathon of miles in advance, but also fundraising for the UMDF and our community with mitochondrial disease. So I'm really excited to bring on today Morgan and Diego, and welcome to the Powerhouse Podcast, you guys.
Thank you so much.
Great to be here.
So on the Powerhouse, we love to really highlight and bring on powerhouses of our mitochondrial disease community, whether that's people from our patient community, our researchers, clinicians, our fundraisers. You guys are a huge part of our fundraising and our successful fall fundraising every year. I was looking back, and I think UMDF runners have been participating in some way, shape, or form, maybe not as an official charity partner, but since 2011. So it's our 14th year with Chicago Marathon, which I'm really excited to have Mito and UMDF really representing for its 14th year. It's very exciting. So tell me a little bit more about yourself, what you do for a living, or whatever you feel comfortable with sharing. Morgan, we'll start with you.
Okay, hi, I'm Morgan, and I am an upper cervical chiropractor. I practice in Monroe, Michigan, so I specialize in atlas orthogonal.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. What about you, Diego?
Hi, everyone. My name is Diego Santos. I'm currently a second-year medical student at Geisinger Commonwealth School of Medicine in Scranton, Pennsylvania, but I am also a clinical research assistant at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and their Mitochondrial Medicine Frontier program.
Awesome. And Diego, we've met you before at previous conferences. It's really cool to have to see a friendly mito researcher face that's also dedicated to running for our Team Activate team. So
of course, happy to see you.
It's awesome to have you guys both. So Morgan, we can start with you. What brought you to Team Activate, running for the UMDF? Was there a specific person or reason that you're running for mitochondrial disease awareness?
Yeah, so one of my patients has mitochondrial disease, and I've been taking care of him for about 10 years. And when I started taking care of him, he was shared a story, and that taking care of his nervous system was really important to keeping him moving. He had a really young daughter at the time, and now she's about 10. And so I see him quite often. And so when I was looking at charities for the Chicago Marathon, I saw there was UMDF, and I thought this is a really great way to support the UMDF community, because not many people, I think, are even aware of mitochondrial disease. And of course, it's the energy that moves all of our cells and keeps us healthy. So it was really important to me to pick something that was close to me personally. And I can't think of a better charity to support than one that supports my patients.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you not only for choosing UMDF and, running in honor of your patient, but for just the care that you provide for him and how important that is for him and his family. So we appreciate you so much. And what about you, Diego? We know you're a researcher and you're also in medical school. My fingers crossed that you're going to say you're going to have some sort of mitochondrial disease specialty in your future. What are your plans?
Yeah, so I really have loved my time at CHOP. I worked there for 3 years before medical school. Right now, I really like anesthesia, but I know that mitochondrial disease patients also need surgeries and procedures, so maybe I'll specialize there in that way. I've really enjoyed my time interacting with mito doctors, physical therapists, patients, and their families. Like Cassie said, I was at the conference for UMBF for the last 3 years, and we host, I always call it like the Mito Combine, like NFL Combine, where we have all of our volunteers in the clinical research pavilion do like an hour of physical therapy exercises with our wearable technology. So we have like walking mats, we have like a wearable sensor around your waist. So it's been really fun being able to collect research data at the conferences and, really showing, especially our clinicians and our researchers, what patients go through, when they visit for their clinics visits.
So, Diego, I just want to let you know how awesome it is that you say you want to be an anesthesiologist. I mean, it would be great if you wanted to be a mitochondrial disease specialist, but can I just say how amazing and what a gift it will be to patients that have mitochondrial disease to know that their anesthesiologist is mito-minded and has a background in it, because it's such an important part of patient care that many anesthesiologists and docs don't necessarily know that there are very important protocols to follow with mito patients when it comes to anesthesia. So thank you so much. Like, I hope you stay on that track. I hope you keep loving anesthesiology. Like, that is awesome.
Of course.
So what have you been a runner, Diego? Like, what made you decide to run the Chicago Marathon then?
Yeah, so I've been running since middle school, honestly. Growing up, I was in track and then cross country. When I went to college, I took a little bit of a hiatus from running, going to Penn State. But then after graduating, I really fell in love again with running, especially living in Philadelphia. I've been running a lot of races there. When I worked at CHOP, the half marathon, the marathon, the Broad Street Run. So it's been nice to stay active, especially after a long day, learning about the mitochondrial process and then the human body. So it's been a good reset. And I'm very excited to, combine my passion for movement with an amazing cause that has shaped my professional life, for the past 3 years.
Oh, man, we're super grateful. And Morgan, have you been a runner? Have you been running marathons? Is this your first marathon? Is this
I've been
on the run, so I'm guessing you've been in some runs before.
I did Indianapolis last year, and I did Toledo in 2016. So it's a family affair. My dad ran marathons, and my mom continues. She's 68 and going on 69 November 1st, and she continues to run marathons. And so she's done Boston 7 times. So she's my inspiration. She wants to do it again. So she's my inspiration. And then I've been on and off running for a while. And then in the last few years, I decided to get back into marathon training and running.
We are so glad that you found us and that you found Chicago Marathon.
Me too.
And go, Mom. My gosh, do it. Do another Boston Marathon. Like, that is amazingly inspirational right there and motivational.
It's so great. It's just a great reminder that, we're so fortunate to have the ability to do it. And so a couple of years ago, I was thinking, you run for the people that can't run, because they would the things that when you don't have the ability to do something, your perspective, I've heard, changes. Like, I would go run a marathon if I could. And so it's a reminder, constant daily reminder, not to take my health for granted and to get out there and then make the most of it. So support something like UMDF and help those who need fundraising.
Gosh, what a legacy. And also, like, I have no doubt, the more that we exercise, healthier our mitochondria are going to be. So, I mean, as many marathons as your mom and dad decide to run in the future, I hope they do and they can. That's amazing. Have you, Diego, I know I last saw you this summer, and you had run, I feel like, was it in Costa Rica? Where were you this summer? Was it in Costa Rica? Have you had to deal with any obstacles or injuries in your training? Like, you have been traveling and training, which is a challenge too with the different climate. So
Yeah.
tell me about that.
Yeah, I this past summer, I was with my medical school in Guatemala actually.
That's what it
But that
was.
was really cool because we got to see patients who don't have medical care. There were families that I saw for 3 hours because they haven't seen a doctor in 3 years. So we went through their entire list of ailments and the whole family. But in my free time after clinic, I would go running there with a few of my medical school friends. And that was hard because the altitude was, I think it was higher than like Denver, Colorado. So I definitely was feeling it. And I could only, run for like 20 minutes before having to take a break. But balancing running with traveling was definitely challenging, but also fun this past summer. After Guatemala, I went to Peru with my family, and I tried running there, but it was harder because it was higher in elevation. Um,
Oh my
but
gosh.
it was good conditioning for going back to Pennsylvania. So I'm very excited, to hopefully that strengthen my lungs a little bit.
Absolutely. What about you, Morgan? Have you had to deal with any like obstacles or travel running or injuries as you've been getting ready? I hope not, as you've been getting ready.
Unfortunately, yes, but it was self-induced. I went running on a trail and locally, and I did 13 miles on it, and I was not prepared. And then you do more miles the next day, the more miles the next day, and eventually you have an overuse injury. But luckily, I'm on the mend from that, and it was unfortunate because the timing was such that we were traveling to Italy for a conference for my husband, and I was so excited to run in Italy. And so I'm making videos for Kyra on the run, and I'm saying, well, I'm kind of sidelined in Italy, but here's the view anyways. But I did a lot of hiking and cross training. So while I was getting over that quad strain, I did a lot of hiking in Matera, Italy, and Salerno. Salerno's by the sea, so I was running by the sea, and run walking, they'll say. But it was good. Yeah. So it was a quad strain. It was it's always humbling. I was doing really well with my training and had my mileage down and my times were coming down. And then I was just grateful to be able to run again.
Oh man. But at least you had a beautiful view.
Yeah, the view is spectacular. I can't. Matera, Italy. Go check it out.
So I was just talking to one of our, he has adult onset mitochondrial disease earlier today, but he's really into cycling. Um, he talks about himself and he says, I'm not an athlete, but he is clearly an athlete. And he was talking about how he's doing more zone 2 training at just further distance, like endurance training in zone 2, and how that has really helped him. So I have no doubt, like the break that you had, the distances you probably hiked at just that lower intensity level were probably really, really helpful.
Right, exactly. Just keeping those zones.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you balance? Obviously, you both are healthcare professionals, you have careers, you have friends, social, family responsibilities, traveling. How do you balance kind of the physical demands of all the training that you have to do with just life? Morgan, do you want to start this one?
Sure. So I made it a priority this year. I just told my I told my patients, like, I'm training for this marathon. I made it a community event, so to speak. So I put a sign out at my front desk, like, I'm training for the marathon. You can donate to UMDF here. And I talk about it, so I'm setting an example, right, for people that it's important to prioritize your health, to get out and exercise, and to make sure that you're always keeping yourself in as good a shape as you can. And sometimes that's about prioritizing time. So going to bed earlier, waking up earlier, turning off the TV at night, which is sometimes a hard habit to do. But those things, I just set a schedule, and that really helped me. I used the app Runna, and then I set a schedule that worked for me. And Fridays I can do my long run, and then Saturdays and Sundays I can do shorter runs and spend more time with my husband. And so for me, it was, letting people know, not doing it in secret, right? Like, oh, why is, Dr. Crowley late? Well, no reason, just not running. But, I brought everyone along for the ride this year.
That is really great advice for any of our future runners. Like, what a great idea to bring your whole, your office, your patients into your journey, keeping them informed and not feeling like this is like something that you have to like take on, like your cross to bear, your burden. Like, we're going to schedule this at like the wee hours of the morning so that nobody needs to know about it, and it's not going to like be a thing in your life. But what a really great way to make everyone a part of it. I love it. Diego, what about you? How have you balanced all of these like training demands? Like, I know a lot of our panelists last year too, they used the Runna app. I saw you nodding. Is that something that you found helpful too?
Yeah. So like Morgan was saying, prioritizing time and, scheduling it in. We just started our neurology block. So we're learning all about the brain, and we're also prepping for clinical rotations in January. So I legitimately bring all my running gear to class. I change in the changing room outside of the anatomy lab, and then I go right to the trail after class, because I know that as soon as I like go home, I'll like have to start studying. Like yesterday, we had anatomy lab. I held the human brain, and that was really cool. And then I went for a 12-mile run like right afterwards. So it really is about, trying to find the time, squeezing it in where you can, during lunch, before dinner, that sort of thing. But like Morgan, I'm also in our medical school's run club. So whenever I get the chance, I do our long runs on Sundays with them. So yeah, like it is really about finding people to run with and building a community around it.
That is very cool, Diego. I'm wondering, after you leave anatomy lab and you go on these, well, I know you probably don't think 12 miles is a long run. Okay, that's a long run for me. I'm at more of a half marathon than a marathon trainer. But when you go on these 12-mile runs, are you like rehashing everything that you did in anatomy lab that day? This seems like another really good technique for medical students that are also runners.
Yeah, so honestly, I've been mixing it up between like music and audiobooks, and then my like podcast / lectures for school. So our school, we get lectures every week about what we're learning. So like yesterday, I was trying to like memorize all of the cranial nerves, but it's kind of hard because I'm a visual person. So just like listening to it wasn't that great, but we're trying to find one. For the Chicago Marathon. My first exam is like the weekend like after, so I'll probably be studying for the 4 hours that I'll be racing.
Oh my gosh. All right, everybody be thinking of Diego, not just because he's running, but because he's studying on October 12th, and send him good vibes for his test. Well, thank you guys so much for being with me today. This conversation is fantastic. We're going to take a really quick break, but then we'll be right back. Stick with us for the Powerhouse.
We hope you're enjoying the episode. The United Mitochondrial Disease Foundation's Mitochondrial Medicine Conference brings together researchers, clinicians, and patient families to work toward better outcomes for patients with mitochondrial diseases.
Save the date and make plans to join us in sunny Orlando, Florida for Mitochondrial Medicine 2026. Visit us online at umdfconference.org. Now let's get you back to the Powerhouse.
And we're back on the Powerhouse Podcast. I have Dr. Morgan Crowley with us. She's our Chiro on the Run, and Diego Santos, our medical student, future MD with us, who has hopes and aspirations potentially to be an anesthesiologist in the future, which we're excited about. I want to know from you guys, what was kind of did you have any funny moments during training? Anything that you were like, that's hilarious, and I hope nobody ever finds out. I know Morgan, you do a lot of videoing when you run sometimes. So was there anything you were like, I'm definitely not posting that?
So I have someone that edits my videos because I'm terrible at editing. So she edits them. And when she was getting to know me, she said, is there any funny things that happen when you're running, like bugs fly in your face? And I started laughing hysterically because I didn't think that's something you should put on the internet, first of all. And second of all, it had just happened that morning where a bug flew into my mouth. And I thought, people want to see that? I can't imagine. I said, yes, that really does happen. They hit your eye and they hit your mouth, and especially when I run by the river. So it was really funny that she asked me specifically about that. And it was an onslaught that morning of bugs in the face. So I said, yes, that really does happen, especially at 6 a.m. for 16 miles. There's a lot of bugs.
Yeah, they're just waking up and they're super active, I'm sure, at that time, especially by the water. Yeah. I don't have as much problem with that, though, because I'm probably a much slower runner than you are. So you can get out of the way faster from me. Diego, what about you? You were talking to us during the break about your time in Peru and how that didn't exactly go as planned, but like, what was that like? And then any other kind of like unexpected, that's not how that should have turned out moments for you?
Yeah, so this past summer, like I said about Peru, I had built in like 2 days to acclimate to the elevation, especially since my whole family was going. But all of our flights were either delayed or canceled, and then I was on the phone with customer service for like 2 hours trying to like rebook like all 7 of us. So we ended up getting to Peru like 6 p.m. in the evening, and then our 3-day hike to Machu Picchu started the next morning at like 4 a.m. So it was very tiring, but you overcome challenges. But another sort of like funny thing that happened this past spring, I ran the Broad Street Run in Philadelphia, and then my friends kind of pranked me. Halfway through, they texted me a Spotify song, and then the Go Diego Go theme song started playing at City Hall. So that was kind of funny because my whole life I've been getting Go Diego Go. So I think that will be on my playlist for the Chicago Marathon too.
It has to be. Like, it might need to be your first song before you start your studying and your your lecture podcast. Like, that leads us right into our next question about hype songs and playlists. So that's more of a prank song, but like, are there any apps, playlists, podcasts that you are in love with that you might recommend for other people with marathon aspirations?
I've been listening to a lot of Bad Bunny recently, going to Guatemala and Peru. So he's been really great and, really high energy. I've also been listening to lots of audiobooks on my runs. If you're a fan of the Hunger Games, I've been listening to The Sunrise on the Reaping, like the new book in the series. And it's funny because like I'm in Scranton, which is like, I guess like really close to where District 12 is supposed to be. So like all of like the trains and like the coal. So I feel like I'm like Katniss, like running across the lake with the turkeys chasing me.
I did not know that about Scranton, PA.
Lots of coal here.
I mean, yes, I've been reading, like I read Hunger Games, the first 3. I had good intentions to read is it the Snakes and the Songbirds?
Yes. It's like Songbirds and Snakes, like the
Songbirds and Snakes. Yes, but I never made that connection. Like, so there's a whole map in the US, assuming of where the districts are actually supposed to be located. Exactly. I did not know.
Yeah.
Okay. You learn on the Powerhouse Podcast.
Oh, of course. and like, like that's been a really good book. And then there's this movie coming out with Ryan Gosling. It's called Project Hail Mary, and that's like a really cool like space like sci-fi adventure book that I've been reading too. So audiobooks definitely recommend.
Nice. And just even for non-marathon trainers, those of us that need some good book advice and recommendations coming up. What about you, Dr. Crowley?
I listen to EDM. So I did do a video on that because I think it's kind of surprising. So I play the cello. I love classical music. And I listen to it in my car, classical music. But when I'm running, my friend made a playlist on Spotify, and it's called Running EDM, and it's 27 hours of this wide variety of EDM music. And I don't know, it's like a rave at 6 a.m. Because now I don't actually do those. So that's my version of a rave.
You heard it here, guys. Where to find the rave at 6 a.m. in Michigan. It's with Cairo on the run. That's amazing. Do you just like love the beat? Is that same for Bad Bunny with you, Diego? Is the beat like close to your like what you want your beats per minute? You just find that's
exactly
like a
it.
good match? Yeah.
So 178 to 180 beats per minute is what you're supposed to, the cadence for running, and EDM is very close to that, 178, 180. So you can just plug and go.
That's awesome.
I love it. And with 27 hours, I mean, you could listen on a lot of long runs and not hear money repeats. That's
exactly. He really supplied a great selection.
That's huge. Awesome. Well, what about any go-to meals, rituals that you have built out? Like, do you have to wear a certain kind of sock? Like, do you have to eat a certain way the night before or the morning of, or not at all? Like, what is your kind of like go-to plan? I mean, a lot of runners are very particular about a lot of different things. So we want to hear it all.
Right, Diego, you got this one?
Yeah. So I always grew up, before track meets and cross country meets, we had a pasta party and we ate so much pasta. I feel like carb loading is really good before runs and races. And then I swear by chocolate milk. I drink that like before and after all the time. So those are like my go-to like things to like have before races.
I just heard about chocolate milk.
I've heard that it's better like replacing electrolytes and your nutrients. Is that true? You guys are medical. I just make that up. I am not a scientist. I need the disclaimer here. I am not.
I heard the same thing. It was news to me, but I was willing to go with it. I just haven't tried it yet. So Diego says it works. I'm going with the soon-to-be anesthesiologist.
I know there are some people like instead of like the electrolyte tablets, like some people like eat like Nerds gummy clusters on their runs, which I heard is pretty good. There's like fiber, there's sugar in there. So I guess that gets your powerhouses going. But yeah, those are things I usually do.
I'm cold brew in the morning. I'm in the mid-30s club. Like I need some coffee in the morning. My ritual is cold brew, and I do every day. I drink Noon, those little electrolyte tabs. I have to start the morning with a Noon for electrolytes, and then I go right to cold brew, a couple cups of cold brew, and that's how I start my day.
Starts getting you ready for your morning 6 a.m. run.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. If I don't have that, it's watch out. It's not great.
Okay. Well, I can attest to the fact that Nerd clusters, the gummy clusters, are really good. And it's not because I've tried them on a marathon. It's because I have 5 and 8-year-old boys. So They love them some nerd clusters, and I can imagine it can't be that much different from the gels and all the things. I mean, it's the whole point of that is sugar, right? To provide you with a little
Yes.
boost, a
Mm-hmm.
little boost for your energy during your run. So I think that's smart because at least it tastes good. So
Oh yeah, it's more economical than the gels or the,
true.
and it's it saves on plastic. Those gels are just like throw them away, but you could buy a bag of nerds, put them in a little Ziploc baggie and carry them with you. So some people who are, planet conscious will do things like that too, which I think is great.
That's a great idea. I haven't heard that tip before, Diego, but that's one that's good that I haven't heard before. So how did you approach, we know, Morgan, how you kind of brought your whole circle and your practice into your marathon training and fundraising. But did you have any strategies or things that you think worked best for you as you were preparing and sharing your story out in advance of the October 12th date? Because you guys made amazing commitments to UMDF and have been fundraising. So what things worked best, do you think?
Yeah, so I crossed the finish line on my fundraising this week officially. So yay, that's great.
Huge.
That's awesome.
And I think for me it was that I was willing to be on social media. I didn't have a presence before. Cairo on the Run was not a thing before this. And it was about, I think it was maybe March or April, I want to say around that time. And I realized I hadn't been doing anything with my fundraising, with the Facebook page that I had access to through UMDF, because you guys give us great tools. And I really felt a call and a responsibility to share my story, to fundraise for UMDF and support the Mito community, and B, to spread awareness to people to move and stay active. And so, I think for anyone that's looking to fundraise or become a charity runner for UMDF, I would say it's a purpose that's bigger than yourself. Find your why, find your purpose, and then don't be afraid to be transparent and realize that you're not doing it selfishly. You're doing it to help others. So that's when I decided that I was going to become very transparent on social media. I was going to share my story. I was going to post videos that, it didn't take much longer on my runs to snap a few videos and start the ball rolling with that. And really share, post, put the sign in my office, and start engaging my community, like I said, around March, April. And that was a game changer. And it was so heartwarming to see people get excited about the UMDF movement, to get excited about the Mito team, and to want to contribute and be a part of it. So I would tell people, get out there and use the tools that UMDF gives you, and be transparent and just have fun with it. People want to be a part of your journey, whether they can do it themselves or not. They would like to join your ride.
That's so important for people to know. And I saw your Facebook stories and I was like, oh, we gotta have Cairo on the Run on our panel for the podcast. And I had no idea. I thought that Cairo on the Run had existed forever and ever. I mean, you made it look old hat on social media. I had no idea that Cairo on the Run came about for Chicago Marathon training. That's amazing to hear. And I'm sitting here thinking, I mean, how touching this must be for your patient that you're doing this in their honor. But then also, you've met your fundraising goal. Awesome job. Congratulations. But how many more people in your community know about mitochondrial disease because you're training for a marathon. You know, like that's an amazing. I mean, it's not a byproduct. It's I feel like it's so important.
It's
for
the
rare
mission.
diseases. Yeah.
It became my mission, right? To spread awareness. And then that's the only reason I got on social media, is to spread awareness.
Well, we're so glad that you did, and I'm so glad that I got to see some of your stories. But what about you, Diego? What strategies worked best for you? You hit your goal. I feel like I saw it on an Instagram post, I think, or a story.
Yes, I hit my goal, I think, around a month ago, so that was really exciting. But like, thank you so much to the UMDF team for all the resources that they were, providing to us. I think the biggest hits were definitely social media, Instagram and Facebook. I slid into lots of people's DMs, asking, the moms of my friends to donate some money. And then I went to college at Penn State. So I tapped into a lot of those alumni networks, like every single Facebook like alumni group that I was in. I was putting a message out there, and then it was a good time as well because it was our musculoskeletal block. So I made an announcement like to my class about myo disease. Like not surprisingly, many of them didn't know what that was. They only knew that it was the powerhouse of the cell. So it was really cool to spread awareness about this rare disease and how it affects all the muscles in your body. And then I got the one question on my final correct. I only got one question. While people who worked in derm offices or worked in other different specialties, they had like a whole block. I got one question, but they were very supportive, and I think I had around over 40 donors, so it was definitely a grassroots effort. So I'm very thankful for everyone who was able to donate to such a great cause.
You guys are both really, really awesome fundraisers. Like, I would never, Diego, I've been at this game for a long time. I would not have thought to go into my alumni groups and be like, hey, by the way, there's this really great cause and I'm running a marathon. That is awesome and kind of huge as far as it was successful for your fundraising, but it's also like a really big deal to be, expanding our reach and spreading awareness about this rare disease. And you're talking about it to your fellow med school students, which it is always really gratifying when I have no doubt as a mito patient to meet doctors that actually know and have some training in mitochondrial disease and mitochondrial medicine. I am not an affected adult, but when I go to the doctor's office and doctors ask me, what do you do for a living? I'm like, oh, I work for a rare disease organization. Oh, what rare disease? The United Mitochondrial Disease Foundation. They're like, oh, mitochondrial disease. I remember this one, Murph from med school. And I'm like, that's really exciting that you had some curriculum, that you had some education in mitochondrial disease, because like you said, Diego, like it's not necessarily something that all med students are going to get to hear about. So thank you for participating in that and bringing it to your class. That's huge. So who are your biggest supporters along the way? And that could be fundraising supporters. That could be family of friends, people helping just encourage you. Any shout outs that you guys have from your journey and your training? What about you, Diego?
Yeah, so I definitely have to shout out, my friends and family. But I also have to shout out my one friend, Sam Mackey. She's from Penn State, and she wants to be a child life specialist. And then she's also running the marathon in Chicago, so we'll hopefully be running it together. And she's been holding me accountable with our training. So yeah, shout out to Sam.
That's awesome. Accountability partners, big deal. What about you?
Well, my biggest accountability partner is my husband. and my biggest supporter. So definitely my husband, a leg, and my family, friends, my patients. Our number one supporter is a guy named Craig, and he made a huge donation and said that he believes in me and he believes in the UMDF. So a shout out to all of my wonderful family, friends, patients, and my husband.
Awesome. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, all the families and friends. We're going to take one more quick break and we will be right back on the Powerhouse Podcast. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you for listening to the Powerhouse Podcast. Join us as we take every step toward treatments for mitochondrial diseases. Together, let's energize the fight. Register online at energyforlifewalk.org. Now, back to the Powerhouse.
Thank you so much for joining us for our Powerhouse Podcast today. And we are with a couple of our amazing Team Activate marathon runners who are on our Chicago Marathon team running for UMDF. Morgan Crowley, our Chiro on the Run, and Diego Santos. We've had a fantastic time talking. Like, I just enjoy talking with you guys, so I appreciate you guys for coming on today. What is one thing, this is not, it just came to me, so it is not on our list of prepared questions, but what is one thing in Chicago is there anything that you're a little bit trepidatious about, or like, I'm not looking forward to that when it comes to like the race route? Because I know, Diego, you've done a lot of Philadelphia-based runs, but have you ever run Chicago before?
I've never run Chicago before. I visited a few times. Actually, like way back in high school, it was like for a like medical like camp. So that was like my first like sleepaway camp. So like going back to Chicago is definitely going to be a throwback. In Philly runs, there are lots of hills, but I've heard Chicago is a bit more flat. So I'm excited for that. But I also, am trying to organize a place to stay and trying to find a hotel. So I think navigating like the public transportation, like where am I going to put my stuff before the race? How am I going to get it back? Just those logistical concerns for someone who, likes to plan ahead. I'm nervous about that part. But I'm very excited to celebrate after the run.
I am excited for you to have that like nostalgia of going back to your like sleepaway camp time when you show up in Chicago. What about you, Morgan?
Well, my running buddy, Andre, so that's one of there's my husband, and then there's my accountability partner, my husband's friend, Andre. We're running it together, and he's also on Team Activate.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. No, I hope that he doesn't feel insulted. We didn't invite him on the Powerhouse.
Oh, I'm sure he's fine. Yeah, I'm sure he's okay. I'll tell him to listen to it. Shout out Andre. He's also our fellow team member on Team Activate. So my husband and I are really lucky. Him and his wife, my dear friend, his wife is my dear friend. They live downtown, right near Grant Park. So we're going to be staying with them. They're hosting us for the weekend. And so that part for me is all covered. My only trepidation is the very end. I think we have to run up Roosevelt. And so we did that. Yeah. So Monroe, where I live, is very flat. It is as flat as a pancake. And when he came here to train, he made the comment, like, you really have no elevation here. It is, we're checking the watches. It is 0 elevation. So I have to find elevation to train. And we did the Shamrock Shuffle. So we did the Shamrock Shuffle this year, the half marathon in Chicago. And the Shamrock also goes up that Roosevelt. And for some reason, I ran too fast in the Shamrock. It ended up great, but I felt it after I ran up Roosevelt. So I'm thinking, ooh, that is the home stretch when, all your muscles are crying and burning. And So that one gives me like the butterflies in the stomach, making it up as well.
We will be thinking about you and all the runners. It's a very steep incline, right? Toward the very end.
Mm-hmm.
Before you enter Grant Park.
It's not Machu Picchu, okay? So
it's not Machu Picchu, Diego. You'll be fine.
I hope so.
Diego is well trained for this year. But for the rest of us, running at sea level.
That is a feat. That is a feat. But you can do it. And Diego, a couple of years ago, I cheered on a friend of mine. She was running the Chicago Marathon with her husband, and they needed somebody to watch their kiddos. And so my husband and I flew up with our kiddos to watch their, at the time, 3 kiddos. And we navigated Chicago with the double stroller and toddlers hanging out the side. And you can do, if we could do it, you can do it.
Okay, perfect.
You'll be fine. It's really wonderful how like the whole city of Chicago really loves Chicago Marathon and loves Chicago Marathon runners. Like it's a pretty cool place to be on marathon weekend. We were kind of worried about like, oh gosh, this might be miserable. But it was really, really fun and a nice time to visit Chicago and see their love for the marathon. So, So what did training? And so when people think of marathon, okay, 26.2 miles, it's a really long way, but that doesn't even cover all the miles that you guys have put in preparation for this race. So in all the preparation, kind of like what did training for Chicago Marathon, did it teach you anything about yourself as you're preparing?
Well, it humbled me.
That quad strain.
That quad strain was humbling.
Oh.
So, it's just a great reminder and consistency for me. When you're consistent and to watch my times consistently, it wasn't about the times, but it was neat to watch the progression each month and my times and myself progress. And then there was the humbling moment. So it's that full circle mixture of emotions where you're doing great and you're thinking, wow, I can really do something. And then the next day you're like, I'd just be happy if I could run.
You really did have the highs and the lows. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just teaches you perseverance, mental toughness. Marathons are all about the mental toughness.
Absolutely right. What about you, Diego?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it definitely taught me mental toughness, especially while being in school. It taught me to really take a break and reset and to listen to your body. There were some days when I would just be so exhausted after a whole day at school that like going for a long run kind of refreshed me. After getting home and like taking a shower, like eating a good dinner, you just feel so much more relaxed and, you're ready to take on the next day. So, I'm very grateful that I can run, and I'm very, very proud to be running for such a great cause.
Thank you guys so much. What advice would you give to somebody considering running for Team Activate? Maybe they've seen us post about it in years past, but they've just never hit go. What advice would you give? Be our hype man.
Do it.
Do it.
Even with the quad strain.
Oh, absolutely. It's all part of the process. It's all part of the process. I'm fine now. It's all good. It's just give it a try. If everything goes wrong, you raise money for a great cause. You can go out there and you can run 5 miles and DNF and no one's going to care. But what they are going to care about is that you put forth a great effort for a great cause. And really at the end of the day, the fundraising is what it's for me all about. And the marathon's a great bonus. And it's just for fun. Don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think, just do it, have fun. It doesn't matter like how fast you go or, how good you feel during the race. It is really about, the patients that we're raising funds for and that we're raising awareness for. So it really is, the marathon in Chicago is, a once in a lifetime, maybe, a few times in your life opportunity. You're surrounded by so many people who are all running for different things, but you yourself are running for something that is so unique and special. So yeah, I'm very grateful that I saw the sign up link in one of the UMDF newsletters. So if you see it, I think that's probably your call to action to do it as well.
Awesome. Perfect. Guys, there's so many people. A friend of mine and I, we try to get together a couple times a week and run around our community, and we're not training for any full marathons. We did a half at the end of last year, but there are so many people that we talk to that are like, yeah, I wish I could run, but I'm slow, and I don't want to be slow. And it's like, well, for us, it's about finishing. Like, it doesn't matter if we're slow, if we're fast. Like, it'd be great if we could be faster, but we're in our 40s. So finishing that's the win for us, So really great advice. What message do you have? As we're filming this, we're in the middle of World Mito Disease Week and kind of our Super Bowl for the community as far as spreading awareness. So what message do you have for the greater Mito community? Morgan, if you
We're here for you. Yeah, we're here for you. We support you. We love you. And we're proud of you. And anything we can do to make it better, we're here to help.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We're thinking about the Mito community in every single step, every single mile that we take. But you, the patients, are the true powerhouses. Continue to advocate for your best possible care, and we'll also do the best that we can to provide it, and also raise awareness for such a rare disease. But yeah, we are with you, and we're so happy to be doing this for you.
Guys, you guys are the best possible runners that I could have invited on this panel today. You have done such an amazing job of really making the Mito community kind of central in every mile that you have undertaken in your training for this marathon. We appreciate you so much. Every mile makes a difference. And we're just so grateful to have you on Team Activate. And the Mito community is lucky to have you as well on their side as healthcare professionals. This has been just a lovely group, a lovely panel. I just appreciate all that you do inside and outside of this Chicago Marathon fundraising experience for the greater Mito community, because it means so much and it makes such a big difference. So thank you.
Of course.
Glad to be here.
Thank you all for joining us for our special October episode of the Powerhouse Podcast with Diego Santos and Morgan Crowley, who are going to do amazing things the Chicago Marathon this year on October 12th. So be sure to check out Cairo on the Run on Facebook. If Diego's okay with it, we might put one of his handles up so that you can follow his run journey on social media as well. But we wish you guys all the best and the best of luck the rest of your training as you're leading up to the race, and all the good vibes for getting up Roosevelt right before.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cassie.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Powerhouse Podcast, and tune in to our future episodes. Subscribe, and wherever you find your podcast, whether that's on iHeart or Apple, or whether you watch us in video version on YouTube. Thank you so much, and we hope that you'll tune in to our next Powerhouse Podcast.